Stop the Melt campaign continues with 90% silver, my friends. Gonna let you know what we saved from the melter today. Gonna explain a little bit more how we handle 90% silver at the shop, especially when people come in, sell it to us. Some of you may not like how we deal with it. That's fine. No problems. But I'm going to let you know why we do it, why we're so compassionate about 90% silver. And we got to be. Help me without the like, my friends. Let's get this information out to more and more people. Every time you've hit the like, we get more people to watch. We get more subscribers. Don't forget about the Pinbacks giveaway coming up on July 4th. I will be putting a video out around the 24th of June for the giveaway. You have 10 days to sign up. We'll pick the winner on July 4th. Let's just get into it right now. Stop the Melt campaign continues. Today, we get a phone call from another coin shop. Not going to say what coin shop, not even going to say the state. It's out of the state of Florida. I'll say it that way. Calls us up. He knows we will buy 90% silver regardless. He says, if you don't get it, he says, I need fast turnaround. Said, how much do you want for it? He says, I'll give you a deal on it. He says, I really don't want to send it to the melter. He's going to give it to over 22.5 times face per dollar. I said, I'll take it all day long. I'll take it at that price. Look, my friends, we're selling it for about $26 times face. A little over $26.10, depending. Okay, I'll get that. I'll buy that price all the time. He says, I got a good price on it when silver was a lot lower. I need some cash right now. So I'll send you the wire right now. I said, are you willing to pay shipping on it? He says, yeah, I'll eat the shipping as well. Excellent. Deal done. That's how you make deals, my friends. He did it the right way. He called another coin shop. All right, he called another coin shop and see if people were interested of buying the 90% silver up instead of sending it to the smelter, whatever you want to call them. I think the correct word is smelter. In regards with that, I had another comment, and I hope this is the honest truth what this person has said. The smelters are calling around before they melt it down to see if there's any other coin shop, bullion dealer that wants the 90% silver. If that is truly what's going on behind the scenes that I'm not seeing, I hope that is the correct information, and I will give praise to any smelter out there that is doing that instead of melting it down. Let's give, if that is what's really going on behind the scenes, I love to see that. Look, I'm not blaming the smelters that melt it down. No way. Okay? They have a business. They buy it from the coin shops. I blame the coin shops that don't take their time and just send it off. They don't even make phone calls, see if anybody wants it, or nothing like that. They find the easy roll out and just send it to the smelters. Then the smelters, supposedly, are calling around. They're doing their due diligence before it gets melted. I really hope that is what's really going on. I'm hoping my message is getting out to more and more smelters, more and more coin shops that are sending it off to the smelters to get melted. It's sad. It's sad. This is our history. Okay, we have talked about this. We're going to be talking about this for the next month at least. You know, I don't know if we're going to continue this. Stop the Melt campaign. It seems like it's starting to pick up some steam. We might just continue it. Let me know in the comments. Put stop the melt. We gotta be fired up, my friends. We gotta use our voices. We have to. We got to save it as much as we can. Now, I don't want to get on to the people that make jewelry out of it, rings out of it. I've seen all that. I think it's cool. They're not really melting it down to put it in another form. I don't want to get on those type of people who make jewelry out of it. It's very few pieces that I'm talking about. The big mother loads of silver just getting tossed into the furnace and getting tossed back to the Comex eventually, and it gets sent away to China and India. For whatever reasons, folks. You know, whatever reasons, good or bad. I'll leave it as that. Okay? Good or bad. And I think you know what I'm trying to say without saying it. People know the dollar is going to collapse. It's all over the place. Some people don't believe the dollar is going to collapse. Sobriety and Silver YouTube channel, my good friend, did a very good video today. I'll put a link to his video in the comment section below from this morning's video for him. He's on board with us with Stop the Milk campaign. He has his own little thing going on. Fill a bag of 90% silver. He also has a Save a Slick in another bag. I think it's all great ways. Many of us don't have a lot of money. A lot of cash. Okay? I've seen it in the own shop, my friends. People come in and buy 3, 4 silver dimes at a time, 2 or 3 silver quarters at a time, a $50 at a time, 1 or 2. Prices are getting high, and that's what they can afford. I love helping those people out more because they're trying to make an effort to stop the melt, for one, and they're getting what they can. Just because you don't have a lot of money don't mean you can't stack something. Think about that. It adds up. Yes, you see a pile of $50 on your screen. It didn't come overnight. You know, luckily I got ahead of the game before this spike up in silver price. I was getting these between $8, $9, $10 a pop, my friends. Little by little. I'm still getting them today when I can get a buy on them. They're melting for $13.04 now. That's the melt value now. Not the numismatic value out there. You see my 90% silver market watch. You've seen some of the online bullion deals are very high in prices. Gosh, it's over $300 for a roll of Franklin halves at one online bullion deal. If you haven't seen that video from this morning, please watch that. I think this week has blown my mind of some of the prices some of these online bullion deals are offering. Best price right now, probably channel sponsor pinbacks.com. I kid you not, my friends. They have very competitive prices, very aggressive pricing. They beat a lot of it out. You know they have still running their silver quarter deal. 3 rolls or more. That's ending the next day or two, my friends. If you need the quarters, pick them up now. Don't wait for the price to go back up. Grab that almost at melt deal now. We'll be doing another deal next week. It's going to be in the $50 line. I'm not going to say what design quite yet, but it's going to be the next week's special. Is going to be in the $50 line. We're going to do it one at a time. I am going to be talking with Michael at Pinbacks and see if we can extend it and get all these series done. It may not be all done in June, but I might be able to extend Stop the Milk campaign, get them all through the system for you all. I'm going to try. I'm sure Michael's not going to have a problem with that. So I'm going to do my best and talk to him about that, because I think that probably would be the best thing to do. But I can't guarantee anything right now. I'm just, I'm sure there won't be a problem, because Michael and Brian are fully on board with Stop the Milk campaign. they're seeing you guys putting that in the comments. I cannot thank you, my friends, enough for putting that in the comments. Bring the Stop the Milk campaign out. Getting the word out there. Because you're just as passionate, if not more passionate than I am about the 90% silver. This is your best barter material right here. Your best barter material right here. When the dollar goes to go rest in peace, you're going to want 90% silver, especially if you live in the United States. The world's getting away from the dollar, my friends. The housing market is in trouble. There are more houses available than buyers. The bond market is in a wreck. The stock market is at an all-time high bubble. Everything's going to collapse at once. Do we forget what happened in 2008? Do we forget? I sure haven't. Some people have. They think the dollar's king. Well, what can you buy for $1? You know, there's not too much things you can buy for $1 or less than $1 right now. Think about 20 years ago what you could buy for $1. Do you remember the juicy fruit gum? The double mint gum? The wintergreen gum? I know I'm missing one. The big red gum packs for 25 cents. Then they went up to 35 cents. And now they seem like they disappeared. Boom. Gonzo. What's the price of your candy bars, my friends? I remember getting a candy bar at Walmart back in the 90s for 35 cents. Okay, it used to be a quarter. I can remember as cheap as a quarter. Some of you remember as a nickel. What does the price of a candy bar cost today? What does... It's so true. Almost $2. Well, that's a war nickel right there. When you think about it, it's still a nickel in face value, but the value of the nickel right now, of the war nickel, is $2.03. You can get a candy bar, still a nickel. Technically speaking, it's just kept up with inflation. Well, you need 2 of these. You need 2 of these to buy a candy bar. Times have changed, my friends. The dollar is going bye-bye. Dollar's going bye-bye. That's all I can say. We got to start stacking little by little as we can. And I'll tell you how we handle it at the shop. You know, some people get on me that we shouldn't be asking customers why are they selling. Normally we only ask that question when it's 90% silver involved. Normally, not all the time. Maybe there's a mix of 90% silver and others silver like that. Sometimes, yeah, it's none of our business. I'll admit that. Okay, it's none of our business. But sometimes we got to educate people and say, look, why? If you're going to go stick the funds in the bank and don't have any recourses to use the cash right off the bat, that's the craziest thing I've ever, gosh darn, heard. Why would you do that for? People say cash out profits. Well, this is going downhill. Yeah, of course, silver could go down Monday. Silver could go down Tuesday. We've seen this happen before. It hit 35, went back down to 32. The guy who was trying to buy a house, my friends, waited. He took our opinion, not so much of advice. Say, look, if you don't need to sell, wait to go back to 35. We talked about that before too. But if you can just take 20, 15 minutes to educate somebody. The guy was mad at first, but he left happy. He understood. It made him realize, uh-oh, maybe I am making a mistake. And we told him, we don't know what silver's going to do Monday. We don't know what silver's going to do in a month from now. It could go down, but it could be also higher. The point is, he didn't need to sell. All right, he didn't need to sell right then and there. He was, you know, I says, are you going to be, and you asked this question to us, are you going to be that much madder if silver went down to 32 and you had to come and sell it then? Would you be that much mad? And he stopped and thought, not really. I might lose a few bucks. I'm like, well, if you cash it out now, you stick it in the bank, you're still going to lose a few bucks due to inflation. You got to take the chance of it going up more. It's not financial advice. The charting's there. The world's telling us wars aren't stopping. They need more silver for you know what. The things that go ba-boom. Without saying that B word. That's what they need the silver for, my friends. They need silver for your cell phones. They need silver for your laptops. They need silver for your TVs. Everything electronic it needs silver for. I've said this before on my videos. If it wasn't for silver, Bitcoin, meme coins would not exist. People who are all into these meme coins and Bitcoins, I'm glad. Go ahead. Good luck. But it wouldn't exist without silver because the supercomputers require a lot more silver than the average computer out there. So it wouldn't exist. You're trusting numbers on the screen. You know, I'm not going to go into the video that my friend Sobriety and Silver YouTube channel did. I just encourage you to watch that. Again, I'll post a link to that video down below. So I don't want to give his thoughts away. I'm right in line with him as well with that. I'll leave it as that. You know, but what I will say, you know, we could have an EPM strike. Knocks out the grid. How's your Bitcoin going to work? How's your meme coins going to work? How's anything digital going to work? We have silver, my friends. We have constitutional silver. We have 90% silver. We have junk silver. Whatever you want to call it. We got silver. We got gold. It's going to be a barter system. Start thinking when you go to the stores. Your grocery store. Any store you're at. Your Lowe's, your Home Depot. Start thinking about silver and gold as you're picking stuff up in your car. Is this worth XYZ amount of silver? Am I willing to give up this much silver for that item? Or am I willing to give up this much silver for that item? Or that much gold? Whatever the case may be. Get your head out of the dollar. Think about in silver and gold terms. Because when the crap hits the fan and we get into a barter scenario, people are going to laugh at this. Never going to happen. That's what some people will say. Well, maybe I hope you're right. But there's a good gosh darn chance it's going to happen too. Remember, digital is only good when you have power. Some people say, well, the power will come back on. Where do you think we get our transformers from? China. Do you think we have all these transformers if the EPM, if someone sends an EPM over our heads? They all get fried, my friends. All electronics get fried. Why do you think some YouTube channels are talking about a affiliate cage? Wrap it up in tin foil, your devices. If it's not in one of those cages, not wrapped up in hard aluminum foil, your electronics get fried. Goodbye Bitcoin, goodbye meme coins, goodbye banking system. What's left? That's why I'm stacking. I'm not stacking to trade for fiat dollars unless I absolutely have to. No way. I don't care if silver went to $100 an ounce next week. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. But you get the point. I am not trading for any fiat currency unless I don't have to. If I get in an emergency situation, I have to get up. It's not going to be my 90% silver first. It's going to be my 10-ounce bars first, 5-ounce bars, 5-ounce rounds, 1-ounce rounds. Then I go into my coins. then I will go into my 90% if I had to trade for cash. But if I'm bothering out there, all your 90% silver will come into play. Your 40% silver halves will come into play. Your 35% or nickels will come into play. Why would you want to give up more silver than you have to? If it's only going to cost a nickel for a candy bar, because that's where you really want that Milky Way bar, it costs you $2. Maybe the retailer says, all right, the one nickel's close enough, and you can make a deal. But why would you want to give up more silver or gold when you don't have to? That's my point of stacking this smaller fractional 35% and 40% candy half dollars, or the war nickels, which are 35%. That's my reasoning for stacking them. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it this way. It makes a lot of sense. Why would you want to go in there or go to the farmer's market and give up this when it may only cost you a silver dime with this silver, and trust that person in a grid down situation and have a note written and say they owe you XYZ of barter material because they didn't have the change for your 50-cent piece. That's why you need a little bit of everything. I'm not saying you got to stack a whole pile of war nickels. Not saying you got to stack a whole pile of 40% silver halves. Not saying you got to stack a lot of 90% silver. Just all I'm saying, I'm stacking it because of how I purchase. That is what I'm saying, my friends. You got to do it within your means. How your family buys. How you buy. Not how I live. Everybody's different. That's the thing. Some people are going to need a lot more 90% silver than others. Some people are going to need more 1 ounce rounds, 1 ounce coins versus other people. Some people may need 10 more 10 ounce silver bars than other people. It's based on how you purchase your stuff now. Trying to maintain your lifestyle as best as you can when the crap hits the fan. That's all. Do it within your means, though. Don't over convert all at one time. Just don't do that. You gotta stay within your means. Use it as a savings account. And you save a lot more fiat money as we know it today. 6 months from now, a year from now, maybe a whole different ball game. Who knows? But it could be. And you're going to start doing the same thing I do. When I go to the stores, is this worth this much silver? You start getting your mind out of the dollar and think about it in silver and gold terms. You will be surprised how much, gosh darn, faster your stack will grow. If you folks have any questions for me about silver, gold, or platinum, reach out to me. In my email is in every single description of every single video. I thank you for watching. Coin Shop Chris is out.